We go off in all sorts of random directions, and I was enjoying it.
Ah, yes.
All right.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Hello there. General Kenobi.
There it is. I was waiting for it. Okay, so welcome back. Back?
Sure.
Are these people coming back?
Let's hope so.
I hope so too. Welcome back to NRC. I'm Noah,
I'm Ryan.
I'm Curtis.
and today we will be talking about a Star Trek Enterprise episode. For some reason. Why did we jump to Enterprise?
I don't know.
I don't know
It wasn't
either.
my idea.
It was my idea, and I don't know why.
We were going to do some community episode, which I was all about.
It's a good episode of Community.
Yeah.
Ryan was poo-poo on it
I was.
in the car ride over here.
Oh, I don't remember.
The timeline episode?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
He thinks too many people have talked about it.
Oh, I guess I've never seen a video talking about it.
Neither have I. So,
it was YouTube.
but today we'll be talking about Star Trek Enterprise Season 3, the episode Twilight.
Yes.
Episode 7?
8.
8. I was off. Damn it.
Yes. So season 3,
I'm terrible.
episode 8. So to start this off by, can you guess who directed this episode?
I have no clue.
Oh, it was Robert McNeil or whatever.
Yep, Robert Duncan McNeil, the Voyager savant himself.
This
Tom
does kind of
Paris.
feel like a Voyager episode in a lot of ways.
Or Nick Locarno, whatever you want to call him, I
Oh,
guess.
right. Locarno.
But yeah, the dude, he directed this.
Interesting.
And then I was looking into it. I was like, what else has he like directed and done? He's done a lot of different stuff. Because he directed episodes of
Neat.
Voyager and
Makes
Enterprise.
sense.
But he apparently, if he wasn't directing, he was also writing or acting in Dawson's Creek, Everwood, Dead Like Me, The OC, One Tree Hill, Las Vegas, Summerland, Supernatural, Desperate Housewives, Medium, Standoff, The Nine, The Knights of Prosperity, In Case of Emergency, What About Brian, My Boys, Chuck, V, The Orville, and
Hey.
The Gifted.
Yeah, he's done a couple episodes of the
He's-
Orville.
Yeah, he's gotten around and
So
done a
Tom
lot.
Paris is really just a reflection of him.
Yes.
Having done all this random crap, Tom Paris can also do just a large amount of random crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. So I thought that
You
was...
learn new things every day.
So, so it was directed by him and then written by Michael Sussman. I didn't look into him. The original air date was November 5th, 2003.
Are you sure that wasn't 2005, Ryan?
I'm positive now.
When we were watching it earlier, Ryan, he flipped numbers around and said it was 2005. I'm like, this is a season 3 episode. The series wrapped in 05.
I saw the 5 and the 5th, and I was like, 2005.
So now I'm just giving him more crap about it.
Yeah.
Someone's got to.
It had a pretty good IMDb score,
It's a good episode.
8.8 out of 10.
Okay.
Some pretty good reviews for the show. A lot of claiming them that this is one of the best episodes of Enterprise because it's.
I would agree.
It's a self-contained episode that takes itself seriously, but is also able to like move on when it's done.
Right.
Right.
It's like the Year of Hell, part 1 and 2,
Kind of.
in a lot of ways.
Yeah. There were essentially like all of the reviews that I found were them saying that this was like the best episode. And
It's a good
but
episode.
there was one other review that talked about how this episode is similar to the opening premise of a TNG episode.
Which DNG episode?
The episode Future Imperfect. It's the one when Riker like beamed down to a planet and then he got
Oh, yeah,
hit
I
by some
remember.
gas or something.
Yep,
where he got
and then
in
he's in a holodeck, and
yeah, like 16.
the alien's trying to convince him that he's his kid, or I don't know, it's
something like
it's
that.
goofy.
Well, it's
Picard
like a
was
double
dead
cross
in the future,
thing
right?
because like he starts to believe that he's in a Romulan simulation because there's
right.
some other Romulan dude that they've gone up against who's
Yep.
like I don't know trying to do
He was
stuff.
some recurring Romulan character,
And
commander something.
but Riker saw through the deception and he was like, there are all these glitches with the
With
Enterprise
even the Romulans.
and all of
It's
that.
like nothing made sense.
And eventually figured out that it was
Riker gets
all
put into
fake.
those situations a lot. Poor
well.
guy.
Well, it was also another callback to the hologram that he like fell in love with
Oh,
in
no, that's how he figures out that
1001.
it's...
Yeah.
Yeah. Moray? No.
Min or something.
Minuet.
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 Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's how he figured it out.
I know.
You remember Minuet
Yeah.
from that episode?
Yes, and then at the end, he goes back, and she's not
Right.
right. The
supercomputer.
right.
Yep.
Oh well. But yeah, so a lot of kind of cool callbacks. Although this episode of Enterprise is not like Future Imperfect because this is more timey-wimey goofiness.
Yeah, timelines.
Kind of, sort of.
If you think about it, it's just a huge paradox and nothing makes sense. But we get a good episode out of it, so I'll let it slide.
And it figures itself out in the end. So it's like...
Not really.
Well, the parasites exist outside of time, so by destroying the parasites at any point, they never really existed.
But if they never really existed, then it was never a problem.
Well, it was a problem when they did exist.
Okay. But you destroyed the timeline where they destroyed them.
Yeah, but it's like T'Pol says in the episode. She goes.
That's,
but if you
that's
just,
hand waving to try and get people off their backs. If you think about it, it's a huge paradox because if they destroyed the parasites, then they never went off into a timeline where they could destroy the parasites, which means they never destroyed the parasites.
You just don't like this because it's not following the rules from Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
What? I don't like the rules to Avengers Endgame.
I think the logic set up in the episode makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I think it's good enough.
Yeah.
Either way. How does this episode start?
How does it start? It starts
He
with...
wakes up and he's
Right.
confused.
He wakes up and he's confused. He punches the guard outside his quarters.
Archer, that is.
Archer,
He
right.
is Archer.
Scott Bakula.
Yeah.
Way to ruin the franchise. Bakula.
Eh.
Bakula punches the guard and makes his way to the bridge. And T'Pol is captain. She's like, someone get him out of here. And you see the big Xindi weapon pop out of their corridors, their super space fast travel. I don't remember what it's called. I haven't watched Enterprise in a while.
The Rift? I forget.
No.
It might be... No?
I don't know.
Whatever. Doesn't... Not
breach?
important.
I don't know.
Not important. And it shoots and it blows up the Earth. And you cut to... It's been a long time.
Right.
Getting from there to here.
I skipped that.
It's been a long time.
And then after the credits,
After the credits...
he wakes up again. He's old
Yeah.
Archer.
Gray hair Archer.
Yeah.
Well,
I suppose being told the same thing, that Earth has been destroyed, really stressed him out over 12 years and turned his
Yeah.
hair gray.
so 2 points that we brought up while watching
We'll
it.
get there when we get to the point when the nacelle gets damaged. All right?
Oh, well, the other point for mine was when he looks into the mirror and sees himself old. It was like, it's like the last episode of Quantum Leap when he finally saw himself in the mirror. And he's like, I got old. I have crow's feet on my eyes. So I don't know. I thought that was kind of funny.
Paul comes in. She's making breakfast
She's
or
got
something.
long hair.
Yeah,
It's
she's
weird.
got long hair. Nice wig.
Yeah, I guess.
I guess. One would assume, because she had short hair for the rest of the series.
Yeah.
She's wearing a wig. She's like, sit down. I've got a lot to tell you.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the last thing you remember?
Yep. And then in a flashback.
Flashbacks.
Flashback.
Wow.
I mean, that's kind of the premise of this episode is looking back at what's happened in this alternate timeline, so it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they look back and it's Archer and T'Pol walking down the corridor, and there's a malfunction in the warp nacelle.
Right, because they hit an anomaly.
Yeah.
Which they're in the whatever sector of space. It was super evil.
They're in the end game now.
Yes. The Expanse.
That's it. The Expanse, which is a television show also, but I haven't watched The Expanse, the television show. But they're in The Expanse, and there were all these anomalies. It shows up time and time again in episodes. So they hit an anomaly.
Mm-hmm.
So
And this anomaly has these parasites in it, and well, we don't know that quite yet, but
Right.
they're trying to get out of this corridor when something explodes. A piece
a
of
thing falls
ship
on
falls on
Paul's leg.
and then
She's trapped.
yeah, and
That's
then
super heavy plastic.
he tries picking it up from a weird angle,
Yes.
and you're like,
So he'll get caught in the.
yeah,
He picks it up from the angle where he'll get caught in the anomaly when it comes straight down the corridor.
mhm,
And Ryan pointed out that he has slow reaction time.
yeah,
It was a pretty slow moving.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like, huh.
Yeah, he kind of looked at it for at least 2 seconds. That was,
What are you going to do?
I don't know.
I mean, they're
And-
trying to clearly convey what's happening, Ryan.
I guess.
You lose some urgency in that clear editing, which I'm okay with.
Yeah. Well, he eventually wakes up in sick bay, and he's like,
Clock's
"How do you
asking-
feel?"
Like a shuttle pod landed on my head. Ha.
Uh-huh.
Ha. He uses the line later, Curtis.
Right, I know. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm very
The
aware.
end of the episode.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the
Ah.
episode.
Ha.
I'm aware.
Ha.
So then
Laugh, Curtis.
we are informed of how the parasites have affected his ability to create long-term memories.
Long-term memories.
So he can remember everything up to the accident, but everything after that fades away
Right.
after a few hours.
Right.
So we move on from there. He still is like trying to act as the captain,
Right.
but it's taking a toll because he keeps
Doing
like,
things over and over again. Yeah. So then Starfleet Command was like, nope, to Paul's captain.
Yep.
Bye-bye, Archer.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Field commission.
So she has to go on to continue being the captain, and the mission to find the Zindi weapon doesn't go as planned.
What do you mean? It went great.
Yeah,
They figured out where the weapon was.
where it was built.
They figured out where the weapon was.
And when they figured that out, or they had a lead on figuring that out, they ended up getting into a
Fight.
ship fight.
A scuffle.
Yeah, a little battle with some other Zindi ships.
Reptilian ships.
They're being
not
boarded. You
boarded.
pointed out that they probably didn't have the budget to do the insectoid
That was
Zindi because they're all CGI. And we pointed out that there were some CGI shots of the ship flying around that's like, oh, that's a little, a
Yeah.
little outdated,
In the
a
final
little
fight,
janky.
there's some jank.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
All the CGI budget went into the close-up shot where the bridge gets destroyed.
right, right, and
Which does look good.
Yeah.
oh yeah. And it's still. I think they said it's still 480 renderings of the effects,
Oof.
just up-resed to
Yikes.
whatever the high def is.
Hard oof.
Yeah.
They're in the ship battle, Zindi board, the
Right.
Enterprise. Captain Archer gets into a scuffle.
Kills someone with his Zephyr Cochrane statue.
Yeah.
That's the best part of the
Yeah,
episode,
it's
honestly.
It was like super like, you can hear the dude like, oh.
It's dramatized.
Yeah. And
Travis gets killed. They
Yeah.
don't even mention it.
Oh yeah. You
He's just
see
laying
him.
on the ground,
Yeah.
like covered in blood.
Yep. Sad.
alternate future where Travis dies.
Tragic.
Sad.
Paul takes the helm and
All
plots a
right.
collision course.
Yep.
Uses the ship that is docked with them to
hit-
collide with the other ship.
Yeah.
But the explosion catches their starboard nacelle. Damn
Fuses
glitch.
it.
Fuses
It's
all the coils or
fused,
something.
yeah.
I don't
Oh
remember.
no.
Have to start
Yeah,
from
they're-
scratch.
They're in the briefing, the post-battle report.
Travis is not there.
As
some
I
other-
said, they
it's some
like,
other dude.
yeah, they've just got some other guy as the helmsman. But they really just don't bring attention to the fact that Travis dies. They just move on, and I think like there's a serious tone to the episode, but also the fact that like that just kind of happens and they just keep pushing. It's like, oh wow, this sucks. But Trip's just like, yeah, if we were at a space docks, it'd be done in 3 weeks. Out here, it's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
We're stuck at warp 1.7.
Yeah. So this is where the other point
Right.
comes into play.
Because at the beginning of the episode, they're back
I
at
know,
Earth.
and they
How'd they
see
get
it.
back to Earth
I don't know.
Fast enough. Yeah.
fast enough?
I mean, there must be some stuff cut out where the aquatics took them in their big ship back
Like
to Earth.
in the
right.
prime timeline. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. It doesn't
don't
make
know.
sense. Because T'Pol also says they figured out where the weapon was being deployed, and they got there after it had been deployed. So how'd they catch up to it and get back to Earth?
I always thought that, I don't know, it's the darn weapons are so kind of Star Wars
Massive.
ripoff.
Oh, it's a
Oh, yeah,
big
it's a
Death
big,
Star.
big
Essentially a
laser
Death
beam.
Star.
Yeah, it blows
Yeah.
up a planet.
You'd think that they would have changed it where you just had to fly the thing into a planet and then maybe change it a little bit. But they just shoot a giant laser beam.
It's silly.
It's sci-fi goofiness. It works.
Yeah, I guess.
Curtis, go back to 2003 and talk to the writers of Star Trek Enterprise.
Yeah, I don't know.
We were in a... No. Star Wars 3 had come out by that. No, wait.
No.
Episode
2005.
3 comes out in 05.
05. 02 was Attack of the
Episode
Clones.
2. Yeah.
Clones.
Yeah.
Attack of the Clones.
Great movie. Oh.
They had like a little Death Star laser on one of the
Right, the
gunships.
Republic gunship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
The
I-
best ship to come out of the prequels.
Yeah.
And in fact, all the Star Wars universe.
Mhm. Yeah, pretty cool.
They're making an Ultimate Collector's Series Lego Republic gunship. It's going to come out next year. I'm
Great.
excited.
Cool.
Curtis, they might bring back Jedi Bob.
Hey, Bob.
Yes.
If you want the,
The
way
generic
to know his
Jedi
heart,
Lego figure that they
just
included
buy him
in the
Legos.
original.
That's all you need to do.
What?
I said it. The way to know his heart is essentially just getting him Legos.
That's
so
not true.
I didn't know there was a Jedi Bob. I guess.
Yes, the original Republic gunship that came out in 2002 or 2003 in Lego. It just had this generic Jedi figure. It wasn't a named character, and it has gone down in legend to become Jedi Bob.
Jedi Bob. Okay.
He's got a green lightsaber.
Cool.
That's all we know.
somewhere in the universe, there's a Jedi Bob.
A Jedi Bob.
Okay. Anyway.
Well, the ship is badly damaged.
Damaged.
Yep. And I think it's at this point when,
Flock shows up.
T'Pol tells Archer that Earth did explode and
And
was
he
destroyed.
goes outside and he's all like,
Right.
And what planet are we on?
SETI Alpha 5.
City Alpha 6.
It won't explode for another 100 years, so
Right.
they're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that online. The writers were.
That was pretty smart of them to do.
It's cheeky. It's a cheeky little reference.
Those poor people.
Oh, those poor people. Oh, right. Yeah, you showed me that line where they were like, yeah, these humans are doomed either way.
Yeah.
Like, even if the Xindi didn't find them, in 100 years, their planet would explode. Or the planet next to them would explode and kill them all.
Well, maybe some of them would survive.
And start eating and domesticating the
The weird
parasite things that
ear
survive.
bug thing. That would have been cool if they had started talking about, like, they had like an infestation. Like, maybe T'Pol could have said, like, we've had this weird infestation of these parasites that get in your brain, and it's like,
Well, I read that they mentioned the Mutara Nebula.
They do.
Okay, I guess I didn't catch it, but makes sense.
I think the Vulcan ambassadors.
Saval?
Saval? Is that Saval?
Yeah, I think so.
There's too many Vulcan names. He does mention it. He's like, this other like refugee fleet was in the Mutara Nebula or the Mutara system or something.
Nice.
going all around.
All in on the con references.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. So Archer is, feeling devastated. So that's probably why he got his gray hair, because he learned every single day that Earth blew up.
Earth devastation meets 51st dates.
Yes, that's what we agreed on.
Yeah.
Because there is that weird, like, kind of will they, won't they romance that also happens
In this episode.
in this episode. Yeah. It's,
Which is completely pointless because
Yeah,
it
they
never
don't-
is brought up again.
nope.
Nope.
Oh well.
So she tells him that the Earth was destroyed. They made their way to this. It took them a year to get to SETI Alpha 5, I think.
Well, they were escorting other ships, so they
Yeah.
were going slow, and they were only going at warp 1.7, probably. You know, there's the space dock got destroyed. One would presume.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you know, Tucker probably had enough free time at this point to go
Well,
build
yeah,
a new
by
coil
12 years
from
later,
scrap.
I would hope he'd put something together.
Yeah.
But I think the refugee fleet flying through space is like a subtle nod to Battlestar Galactica.
You did
Which
mention
was-
this.
It was on. Wait, I don't remember if Battlestar Galactica starts in 2004 or 2003. So it might not have started yet. In which case, this is like Battlestar reference. Super meta.
Wow.
Wow.
Great.
Curtis, you should watch Battlestar Galactica.
So I've been told. Maybe
You can borrow
someday.
it. I have the entire series on Blu-ray.
On Blu-ray?
Yes,
Yeah.
I got it for 60
So
bucks.
wait, Battlestar has been released on Blu-ray, but DS9 and Voyager haven't.
Voyager will probably.
Well, like I said,
never-
it came out in the mid 2000s. They probably filmed in HD, and then
Oh, they
like Enterprise.
Yeah, I see. I guess that makes more sense.
Was it you who was telling me that Voyager probably would never be released in
Voyager and DS9 probably won't.
Blu-ray?
I mean, yeah,
It's
they
unlikely.
they were shot on film, so the resolution is there for the
Right.
actual
Film.
shots. But then, all those effect shots are rendered, and who knows if they exist on floppy disks at this
Right.
point,
Yeah.
or what? You'd probably just have to recreate, and that's a lot of what.
Time and money.
Yeah,
Yeah. And it did take them like 3 years to make that DS9 documentary that we
Well,
watched.
that was them getting people together for interviews.
True.
Was most of the time in that,
Okay.
because they only did about 20 minutes or so of up-resing.
But still, it was a lot of footage that they had to like dig through to
Yeah.
get it to correctly.
Well, the thing with
work.
that is that, as with any Star Trek show, you have a shot and then you reuse it 80 episodes down. A, to save money. B, because you don't need a new shot of the ship flying through space. So you're just going to reuse it. So that film gets moved from one episode's box to the next as they keep reusing it. So that just, it's a whole headache of confusion of where did this film end up
Yeah.
for this particular shot.
all right. Yeah, and I suppose at least the early seasons of DS9 still had models and
Yep.
stuff. So
Season 4's episode 1, the big fight with the Klingons, that's all still model work. That's the last big model thing that Star Trek did.
Cool.
Yeah.
cool.
Cool.
The Vulcans hailed the Enterprise,
Yeah.
and it's the
Saval shows up.
Saval.
He's like,
Come
I'll
back
take-
to
yeah,
Vulcan.
I'll take you and Archer back to Vulcan.
Get them specialized care or whatever. I don't really understand why she didn't just do that.
Because she felt loyalty to the humans.
Okay.
The humans are dead.
The humans are dead. His poisonous gases. We poison their masses.
Actually, their lungs.
Binary solo.
00001 0000011 0000011.
This might be a little different. Yeah.
Yeah, so Saval tries to talk her into it. She decides no. And then by the time they reach SETI Alpha 5, she tells Tucker that she's stepping down, or no,
Resigning.
she's resigning her commission.
Whatever.
Which you were like, why would she do that?
No. Why would she use the word resign? Who is she resigning to? There's no
Right.
admirals left.
Yeah.
There must have been at least one.
This is City Alpha 5.
Someone on set must have done that at some point.
So she gives up the Enterprise and decides to
Trip.
just live with Archer, trying to help him.
Yep. Flock shows up. He's like, I solved it. We're good. It took 10 years of tireless stalking.
Yeah. Optimism, Captain.
Oh, that's completely unrelated to my reference.
Yeah,
Oh.
Then Bender shoots Fry.
Bender shoots Fry.
I murdered my best friend.
Took 12 years or something of tireless stalking.
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Not important.
I haven't watched all of the Futurama episodes like some people.
Oof. That's fun.
Okay.
That's cool.
I don't know the references.
This was
How many Cheers
movie.
episodes have you watched?
We're into season 9, I think.
You've watched 9 more seasons of Cheers than I have.
Oh,
I
fair.
wouldn't get any references to that.
That's okay.
I got him.
Good one.
You got him, Jim. You got him right where we want him.
I think we did that reference last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll just keep circling around. It's going to get boring.
Phlox discovers a cure.
Develop the technology to cure
Yeah.
the parasites.
They have to do it in near a warp engine or something.
No, they need power from the warp engine.
Yeah.
So
It's
they
a
were
highly focused proton
I
beam.
thought it was anti-protons.
I
which
think he
means they
said
could-
proton.
I thought it was anti-proton.
I don't think.
I-
I'll check it and
we'll
then
check this
it'll be written
afterwards.
along the
Oh,
bottom.
I
don't
see.
know.
Noah was right.
I don't know. It's
We'll see.
something. It's
We'll see.
sci-fi goofiness. They figure it out. They use a laser
At least it wasn't
beam.
chronotons.
Yeah. Stay away from the chronotons.
Archer would be dead. And also his own grandmother.
Well, he I mean, technically, he does die in this episode.
That's
briefly.
true.
And then stuff happens. Off screen.
Eh?
Well, he gets cured off screen. And then
No,
the
it's
timeline
it's
kinda-
on screen. There's a big explosion.
Yeah. He dies.
An implosion. Remember?
That's right.
It
Oh,
has
right.
to be a
It's
reactor.
something
The
implosion.
explosion doesn't make sense, son. It should have, like the
I don't think they had the budget for that.
the Futurama. Everyone out of the universe. Yeah. See, I got that
Nibbler.
reference.
That's the same movie from the reference that I made.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I remember Nibbler. Nibbler's cool.
Yeah, he turns into a ball.
Eats himself.
Yeah.
Just ceases to exist.
So they're on the Enterprise, or they board the Enterprise, and Archer's seeing everybody, and they're all like, "We haven't seen you in 10 years." And to Archer, it's like he feels a little out of sorts being around everybody. He leaves his homecoming party early because he's like, I felt a little strange. So
You know,
Be
they
a
were
little
going
disconcerting.
to age Porthos. Apparently, I read, but they didn't. Probably budget reasons.
I would assume that dog wouldn't live that long.
It's the 22nd century.
Oh, they cured dogs aging.
Well, they can extend, and some dogs live to be like 16, 17.
Okay, he was
Porthos is-
a grown dog at the beginning of the series. This is 12 years later.
Yeah,
Okay.
he would have been
Porthos.
old.
I mean-
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, wasn't it what's his name?
That doesn't count.
Scotty.
I know where you're going. That doesn't count.
He
Because
transported
Admiral Archer's
Admiral
beagle.
Archer's
those-
prized beagle.
Those movies don't make any sense.
Somehow he got his beagle. So
Those movies
somehow
don't
he
make
lived
sense.
that long.
Yeah, somehow Archer lived that long. That doesn't make sense either.
Yeah.
People live long lives in the future. Look at
Ay, ay,
Dr.
ay.
McCoy.
Yeah. What, he was like 120?
He's 140.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
I was saving the galaxy when your grandfather was in diapers.
Yeah.
Huh?
That's Kirk from Generations.
Oh, okay. We could watch Generations.
We
That sounds like
talked about this.
enthusiasm.
They should have made that the season finale or series finale, and
Yeah.
No.
all good things could have been the movie. That's what the writers said in.
I thought you
Retrospect.
said yesterday's
Oh, in
Enterprise.
Well, they
Retrospect.
also wish they could have done yesterday's
Yeah.
Enterprise as the movie.
See, hindsight's 2020.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? They
were
talk. Archer and T'Pol are talking about like their relationship. They're
Yeah.
dancing around things.
like how they've grown closer.
It was kind of a J.J. Abrams moment because Archer was like, how far has our relationship developed? And she just looks at him and you'd never get an answer.
Yeah.
It's like the ultimate like mystery.
Mystery box. Oh
Yeah,
no.
That's how Lost
JJ
worked,
yeah,
essentially.
exactly.
So
Yeah, it was always like, what does it mean? Dun. Cut to black.
and they never
we never
explained. They just
I never
apparently
watched
moved
Lost.
on from there.
Yep.
And then it ended with a weird wheel in the ground that apparently started the world. I don't know.
I have no idea what they're talking about.
Lost is a weird show.
I never watched it.
I liked the ending of Lost. I wish they would have gotten another season to flesh out some other things.
Sure.
Oh well. Too bad.
Yeah.
Too bad.
It did get it got very weird with the time travel and the time differentials and all
Yeah.
that stuff. It was I mean the first couple of seasons were like very mystery and then it got really sci-fi as you got to the end.
Interesting.
Yep.
I'm
should
probably
watch it
never going to
sometime.
watch it.
You should watch it.
Nah.
There's a
It's
sweet
interesting.
box set out there.
I've got a sweet box set of Star Trek The Next Generation.
So
hey,
do
me
you.
too.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey.
I don't.
That's okay. You don't need it.
Yeah.
You can watch them on CBS All Access.
Don't do that. You should cancel your subscription to CBS All Access.
Well,
There's
you
no
don't
point.
have any ads during the Star Trek episodes
true.
on there.
Any non-new
Well, yeah,
episodes.
any of the old episodes. I should clarify.
True. I don't know. I'll decide soon.
Okay.
So they're talking about their relationship where it's left kind of up in the air, and then
They go test the thingy. He
Yep.
gets some of the microbes.
There's a
parasites.
discrepancy in some of the old dogs.
Yep.
Right.
So all
Before T'Pol can once again answer about the relationship because Phlox is coaxing it out of her. But then
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
like, look at these discrepancies. Ah.
Yep.
So they were going after a ship that was close to the sun in
Right.
the SETI Alpha system.
There's the little ship.
Yeah. And what
Scout
was
ship. A Uridian.
Yeah, it was a Uridian.
We saw them on DS9
Mhm.
Yep.
all the time. So that was nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's like familiar faces,
See, they're going full circle with the Trekness.
unlike J.J. Abrams.
Yeah.
He kind of goes full circle in a way.
How so?
It's like a circle in time.
Yes.
Takes you back to an alternate timeline. So it's like a...
But that's coming back around and then going down into the Back to the Future
yeah, I mean...
split off. So that's not really.
It's not a circular circle. It's like a... I don't know
What
what
other
you'd
kind of
call it.
circles are there?
I don't know.
Are we in the 8th dimension?
Eighth dimension. Time is a different dimension, isn't it?
Chaotica.
Yeah.
Everyone knows there are only 5 dimensions. Laughs in Chakotay's face. That's from Shattered.
Yeah, that's a great
That's
episode.
a fun episode.
Timey-wimey nonsense.
Timey-wimey nonsense.
It's great.
But that episode knew that it was just utter nonsense, so it just had fun.
Well, I think this episode also kind of knew that this is a one-off situation.
Oh, yeah.
This what if.
It's purely a what-if story, and that's kind of what I enjoyed about it.
That's why I, completely off topic, I have the Star Wars Infinity comics,
yeah,
which
yeah.
is like the what if for Star Wars. Like, let's say the Death Star didn't blow up when Luke shot a missile at it, or what if Luke had died on Hoth and Leia had to train to be a Jedi, or stuff like that.
I don't know why they call it Hoth. It should be called Cold. Settle down, you two. I'm up
No.
after the band.
Yes. So they're like, hey, look at these discrepancies. Tucker, rather than trying to defend the ship and turning on the weapons, let's try to save Archer, because it looks like if we erase these parasites now, it'll erase them all in the past, and who knows
How the timeline will
timeline
change.
go. Maybe we'll have a better future.
And Trip's like, no, we've got to fight.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they go into battle. and a lot
They
of
fight,
the ships.
and they fight, and they fight, and they
Yeah.
fight.
The ships get destroyed. There were no insectoids, so they were able to save the budget for when they destroy the bridge,
Right.
which looked kind of
Well,
cool.
There are insectoid ships fighting alongside in that sequence. They just don't board any ships.
Yeah.
Right.
And I pointed out that I thought it was a little strange that there weren't any bodies
And when the
flying
bridge
out of
blows
the
up,
bridge.
this
Yeah.
was public television, Ryan.
Yeah,
I think that'd be a little.
Yeah, but they also showed Captain Archer like taking a statue and viciously stabbing
Right,
a
but
dude in the chest.
Yeah, the stabbing was kind of out of the frame.
Yeah.
Kind of.
like you just kind of see
know.
the statue kind of like jutting out of his
I don't
chest.
Right.
I was just like, oh well.
I think
It
it'd
was
be
still cool.
I think like a dozen bodies floating out of the destroyed bridge would be a little gruesome.
Yeah, it would be very dark Trek.
Dark
my
track.
God.
Yes. Archer and T'Pol, they're trying to get to the bridge to help in whatever way, and then they discover the bridge is destroyed.
This is a very dramatic climb the ladder
Climbing up
sequence.
the ladder.
And then they're like, okay, we can't do this. So T'Pol's like, we need to get back down to get you into surgery. And Archer's like, why does that even matter? And then she explains on the way.
Well, we the audience already know, so we don't need to hear that exposition again.
True.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Means you can just flow into them getting to engineering and Phlox meeting them there. Phlox is the only one with a phaser.
Yes. A few times, we hardly ever see Phlox use a phaser. So we did get that in this episode.
me.
Yeah. And-
Shoots one guy and then gets shot and dies.
Yeah.
Or he just fell and hit his head really hard.
The proton machine is damaged.
Yeah.
Right. The chamber.
Anti-proton, whatever thing.
It's anti-proton.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Whatever
I'm
it is.
so confident.
There's
I'll be wrong, I'm
piece
sure.
there's a piece of plastic that apparently hit it really hard.
Yeah.
And
Right,
it no
there's
longer
the
works.
the one broken beam.
There was another beam that landed right next to T'Pol when she goes up to the warp core.
That was already there.
It was?
Yeah,
I thought it
when they
just
climb
like
up.
magically appeared.
Nope.
Okay.
It was right there. The whole
So
time.
they have to do
replace a plasma injector because one is damaged because they have to overload
Yeah.
the engine or the plasma injectors to create an implosion
Yeah.
that will
Right.
destroy the parasites
Yes.
from his mind.
What's
Yes.
interesting is that
Interesting.
those injectors are then used in a later
They're used a
episode
bunch.
3 plot or season 3 plot when the episode E squared,
E squared,
when they
right.
steal the injectors from.
One of the other time travel plots.
There are a couple time travel episodes in this
season
season, but
Remember when they go to Detroit?
That's a great episode.
yeah,
Is it? I don't remember.
I
I just
enjoyed that
remember them
episode. I
going
liked
to
it. I thought it was
a drive-through at some
Archer
point.
Yeah, he-
driving. Although
he learns how to hotwire a car.
Yeah, yeah. They could have. Well, I guess not a lot of manual transmissions in 2004, but they
Oh,
could
a
have done a
reference
good.
to-
Yeah,
Yeah,
Piece of the action. It's the reference.
check.
right. Wheels, Mr. Spock. Wheels.
Yeah. So Archer then has to shoot at the Zindi while after.
Paul is.
Yeah.
All right. After Phlox gets killed,
Yeah. So he's doing that while working on the
Paul's working on overloading the whatever,
Yeah.
and the thing
doing
happens.
implosion, and Archer gets shot a couple times.
T'Pol
Oh no,
gets shot
T'Pol
first.
gets shot.
She gets
and
shot once.
She immediately goes down.
Immediately go down.
All right.
Vulcan. They have superior strength and all that, right?
Yeah, but she got shot like directly, probably right in the heart, like dead,
Shot.
dead.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Pull the footage, Curtis.
I'll look at it. Archer gets shot in the arm the first time. He's like,
Gets shot in, like the shoulders.
It's
He
okay.
gets shot like 3 times.
Yeah. And then
At least twice, anyways. He just keeps
He just
moving
keeps going,
stuff,
keeps
and
pressing
stuff,
the buttons,
and
doing the
moves the thing up,
levers.
and the ship explodes.
yeah,
Everybody dies,
Implodes.
except for me.
except for me.
And he then wakes up in sickbay, back at the
How do you feel, Captain?
like a shuttle pod hit me in the head or whatever.
Landed on my head.
Whatever.
What a callback.
A great callback. There was another callback when I think earlier in the episode when they were at the mess hall with Tucker and T'Pol, when T'Pol is like, I never expressed my gratitude for whatever, or I wouldn't have come back to do that or whatever. It wasn't logical, and he's like, good thing I don't take orders from you. And then at the end of this episode,
T'Pol's
he says
like, we don't take orders from you. Yeah.
And
then
so it's
he
like,
Kind of feels like
cheeky.
you're padding a script there.
Yeah, it worked.
And
It
Archer
works.
asks for a pillow. He asks for the light.
It's within arm's reach.
I know.
Like, what a lazy bastard.
It's literally in that.
And then he's like, you'd make an excellent nurse. And it's like, ha.
That's why that exists. It's like, oh, God.
And yeah, that's
the episode.
That's the episode.
That's the episode.
Technically, nothing happened.
Nope. But there are other kind of cool timey-wimey nonsense things that we could talk about from this season. If we wanted to
didn't
do
watch
more
those
episodes.
episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised no one from Temporal Investigations
Temporal
ever showed up
Investigations
from
didn't
the
exist.
future.
Oh.
To
Well,
try
Daniels is around.
to, I know, but they never correct all this stuff.
I was thinking that too. Why
The
wasn't
correction
Daniels
happens
there?
in the Nazi thing.
Right, but I don't know. They jump around through time. I don't know. I guess who cares?
Well, if you think about it, from the future's perspective, every bit of time travel is a predestination paradox because it has to happen so that it can unfold in the right way so that they can exist in their future or
Right.
something. I would assume.
I guess.
What does that say about free will?
I don't know.
Free.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah. So, I don't know. How did we feel about this episode?
I felt really great about this episode. It's fun.
I agree. It's followed up by another great episode, North Star or whatever.
Is North Star a good episode?
Is that the cowboy
It's
episode?
the cowboy
Yeah,
episode.
episode. It's
Yeah.
fun.
Is it?
It's I don't know.
I just remember
good.
the harmonica.
Yeah.
It must be like, well, I'm on to season 3 of Westworld right now, so I wonder if it's at all kind of similar to the Westworld vibes. Well, no,
doubt
that's
it.
actually like Westworld's pretty extreme, so maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know. But
I
it's
don't
a
know
fun
either.
episode, I guess.
Is it?
Might not be the greatest episode there ever was.
I actually just don't remember. Like, is it good?
Probably better than half of the season 1 and 2 episodes. Probably.
Probably.
There are a handful of gems from season 1 and 2.
Yeah, there's some stuff in there. Then there's some other stuff,
Yeah.
Like the one where
like A Night in Sick Bay.
Or the one when they're stuck in the warp nacelle tubes.
Catwalk?
Yeah.
I
They did
remember
that.
liking that episode. Right, the
They
first
did
time I
2
remember
times.
liking it. The second time is just them trying to get use out of that set again,
Yeah.
and it's just kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was a pretty good episode.
It's a fun what-if story. You know,
Cool to think about.
cool to think about.
And then they move on from there, and then a whole bunch of other stuff happens.
Right. I read that the wig that Archer used in the episode to have his gray hair was the same wig that the actor for Saval used at some point.
I
That's funny.
suppose.
Yeah.
Do you wear wigs?
Big, beautiful blue eyes.
You got it.
That's what I kind of figured, but I haven't seen that interview in a long time. I don't own the movies on Blu-ray.
You don't? I do.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I don't even
That's
own them
another
on
guy.
DVD.
Another box set I own.
Yeah. Yeah, you took the
Blu-ray.
last one from Barnes & Noble.
I mean, they restock.
I don't know if it ever did. I
I'm
don't know.
sure it did.
I'll have to go check.
He's sure it did.
I'm fairly sure it did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for watching. If you also watched this episode of Star Trek Enterprise, maybe leave a comment, something that you found interesting about it, or I don't know, entertaining, or maybe you didn't like, let us know. Like and subscribe. And subscribe.
Next week on NRC. Braveheart.
Braveheart? I usually don't eat breakfast because it's unfair to lunch.
It's a Dienel Donger.
Doppeldiener. Dienel Ganger. I want you to enroll in the air conditioning repair school.